Hi, my name is Joseph Alai. Welcome to my channel. And today I want to talk about imaginal scenes. Imaginal seeds, S-E-E-D-S, what they are, how they relate to manifestation, how we can utilize them to kind of understand the process, where we are at in the manifestation process, and how to kind of change the composition of our seeds as well so that we can begin to have bridge of incidents that are in alignment with how we wish to experience life. So I think, leading up to the next workshop, I'm doing a workshop in a couple of weeks, or not a couple weeks, really soon actually, on kind of the advanced fundamentals of manifestation. So I think before kind of hopping into extremely advanced topics, it's super important to understand how this stuff works so that we can know what to expect when we're manifesting. Imaginal seeds are kind of the building block of manifestation. And I guess the simplest way to explain that would be to think of when we imagine something, a seed is planted, right? A seed is planted. So what is this terrible seed? How did the seed come about? What is within this hideous seed? And how does this have anything to do with manifestation? When we imagine, we impress our subconscious mind, right? The environment, the experience that we live in is a balance of all of the different imaginal acts that we've impressed upon the subconscious mind. Now, an imaginal act doesn't always mean a visualization act, right? A visualization act is visualizing something, but your imagination is not limited just to visuals, right? Not just to sight. That includes all your senses, but it also includes projecting things like emotions, feelings, beliefs, moods, inner conversations, any and all aspects which can be deliberately created within the imagination, right? That would be an imaginal act. So when we imagine something, we impress the subconscious mind. So over the course of our entire life, right? And as you know, I think it's basically common knowledge at this point, but up until we're probably, I think it's like 7 years old, we are mostly subconscious, which means everything that goes into our perception is essentially molding our mind and therefore shaping the way that we will eventually experience the world. So over the course of days, weeks, months, years, decades, our subconscious is perpetually spitting out this blueprint that our mind is shaped by when we're younger. But it's not only when we are younger. Even now, we have access to shaping our subconscious mind to be exactly as we wish, as long as we have the proper tools like hypnosis or how to imagine properly or how to manifest properly. So when we imagine something, a seed is created, an imaginal seed, right? Now, this is hypothetical to an extent, but once you study enough manifestations unfolded, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 50,000, a pattern begins to form, and the way that it ends up being is something that's exactly like a seed. So, essentially what it is we imagine something that we want. We impress the subconscious mind with that. But as the subconscious mind lifts this imaginal act to awareness, the awareness which creates everything, a seed is created where all of the ways and means to achieve that imaginal act is created as well. So in Neville Goddard's lectures, he basically explains that the ways and means are within the state itself. So what's an imaginal state? What is a state? A state is inwardly all possibilities of who we can be as a human or what we can experience as a human. So there's a state of poverty, a state of wealth, the state of me getting into an argument with someone, infinite possibilities of who I can be. I can draw upon those things called states and select a state, and then I will become that thing that I've selected. And so we select a state, right? So say I want to be married to Jane. I would imagine in my mind something which would already imply that I'm married to Jane, a scene, right? Some type of scene, whether it be after a wedding or maybe an anniversary or talking to a friend about how I'm married to Jane. In doing that, we create a seed, a snapshot of that imaginal scene, which now I have to experience that imaginal scene in reality. But there's this discrepancy though, right? If I have to now experience that end result, right? Now I have to be married to Jane. Now, or say now I have to be a millionaire, right? Say I imagined myself with bags of money and whatever. Now I have to become that person. So there's the discrepancy between that image, that state that I've just selected through my imagination, through emulating the process of that end result, and who I am now. So just to be really clear, the process of selecting a state goes as follows. We select who we want to be. So whether that means I want to be married, I want to be rich, I want to be in good health, I want to be fit, whatever it is, I want to be happy. We have to define that first. And once we define that, we then select a scene which would mean that. So what do I mean by that? I mean, if I wanted to be happy, I would now have to conjure a scene, an imaginal movie, an imaginal experience, which, if true, would mean that I was happy, would mean that I was married, would mean that I was rich. So in the case of being rich, I would select perhaps me driving in a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, or maybe I would have a mansion, or maybe I would have $1 million watch on. That would be a scene that only would happen. If that happened, that would mean that I was rich. So you can be as accurate as you want in defining a symbol, which would mean that you already are that person. Once we select that, we must experience it, but we're not going to experience it in this world, not yet, not until we imagine it. And so from that point forward, we try to experience in our imagination that wish as if it already happened, which means we try to taste, smell, touch, feel, experience, in other words, in our imagination, what it would be like if it were true. That could be emotion, that could be sight, that could be taste, touch, any of that stuff. You could be talking to another individual. The idea is to, as accurately as possible, imagine what it would be like if it were true. And if we can get as good a representation as possible of the actual experience that would be unfolding, and if we can repeat that process, that scene, that experience in our mind over and over until we really get a good impression on the subconscious mind, which can generally take 1 repetition, 5 repetitions, 10 repetitions in our mind. If while we're doing that, we're in a state which is conducive to subconscious mind impression, such as hypnosis, or such as a state akin to sleep, which means nearing upon sleep or just about in sleep. It's a different kind of state than waking state. If we can do that, then we will have accurately created a scene, which means we will accurately have impressed the subconscious mind, which means we will have accurately created an imaginal seed. So about that discrepancy, I have to now suddenly experience myself as a millionaire. You have to experience yourself as being married to some person. That person, the other person involved, has to now become a different person. So how does that discrepancy resolved? Well, the way it is resolved is through the seed. The seed begins to grow. And this is where the metaphor comes in between a seed and an imaginal act. So when we did that impression, and as Neville says, the ways and means are contained within the state itself, well, the composition of that imaginal seed is of all of our, it's consisted of all of the events that must transpire, that must occur for me to become that millionaire, for you to become that married person. That is what is in the seed. So as this seed grows, all of the different events are unfolding. And that seed itself is connected not just to you, but to anyone that is involved in fulfilling this desire, right? It's not always black and white either, right? Sometimes turns happen, like sudden turns that may seem like that has nothing to do with your desire, but this seed is moving this person, then that person, and then maybe these two at the same time, and then maybe this person, and maybe goes back to that person. And all along, this seed contains impulses, right? Impulses. But a master plan consisted of some intelligence, some infinite intelligence, which really is beyond any capability. And so, suffice it to say, all things are essentially moving in perfect unison to manifest your end result, this scene that you have impressed upon the subconscious mind. Now, but these bridge of incidents, right? These different events. Some people have positive experiences moving from A to B, right? To become, for that discrepancy, for that difference between now and then. Some people have bad experiences. And the composition really consists of our assumptions, right? There's two possibilities. The composition of a seed or the bridge of incidents is consistent of assumptions or unknowns. So what does that mean? What does unknowns mean? What does assumptions mean? Assumptions is another way of saying beliefs. Now, beliefs can be subconscious or they could be conscious, right? It could be thoughts such as nothing comes easy to me. It could be thoughts such as everyone leaves me. It could be thoughts such as I never maintain any money. I can't hold on to money. These thoughts, whether they're conscious or subconscious, are what this is going to be consistent of, because this comes directly from your mind. This comes directly from your mind, your subconscious mind, which is consistent of all those beliefs and assumptions that you have. That sum total of everything. That is what this seed is going to push your this experience towards, which means that your experience as a human, the way that it is right now, is in perfect unison because you have placed it there. And so an imaginal seed is consistent of not only a master plan to get you to your end result, but it's going to also come in a way that is consistent with your beliefs. So ultimately, which would be another video itself, what we would want to do if we wanted to control how events came to us is we would essentially want to control our beliefs. We would want to control our assumptions. We would want to create and remove old beliefs, attitudes, ideas, etc. There's one thing that you can find, and remember, all this stuff has been been figured out through about a decade of testing this stuff. But I have here, as you can see, speed, right? I have something called speed here. But the question is, why do I have this here? So what you will find is, through experimentation, through segmented tests, is that the seed is planted the instant the imaginal act is pushed within the subconscious mind. So in other words, there will not be a delay on when this plan starts to be executed. Now, we don't know what is contained within here because in essence, we don't know the exact plan because this is all subconscious or superconscious. But what you can bank on is the idea that as soon as you plant the seed in the ground, it's going to germinate and begin to grow. And then all that this consists of will begin to manifest. So a great way to know what is in your subconscious is by just looking at the way that your world operates now. And then even perhaps looking at the way another person's world operates. More times than not, you'll see that people's beliefs truly do dictate their experiences. And when you see someone struggling in life over and over again, then you know that there are beliefs inside of them which are hurting them, which are harming them. And so imaginal seeds themselves essentially are the fundamental building block of manifestation, right? We are consistently, anytime we allow something to impress our subconscious mind, be it deliberate or inadvertent, an imaginal seed is created. So be careful then to simply continuously fix your beliefs and then continuously plant seeds that you wish to manifest, because not only will this begin to grow immediately, but it must manifest. It must manifest. So if you get a good impression, it will reach fulfillment. And just remember, all people will be moved in perfect order, even unbeknownst to you. You've always been doing this. They will be moved perfectly by your beliefs to fulfill your end result, which is mandatory once you impress your subconscious mind. So the one thing that I forgot to mention is the unknowns. So the unknowns essentially consist of what is not a belief in your mind. So all things that are unknown have infinite possibility as to the way that it can manifest. So for instance, if you've never experienced something before, then there's no set way for a manifestation to come, which means it will come in a way that will fastest come to you, will come to you in the fastest. That was backwards. So unknowns essentially is what you don't know, what you've never known. Then the way from which it can come, whatever the manifestation is, will be based on any which way. However, if you deliberately set assumptions, you erase unknowns and you set new tracks, like if you want something to come in a way that is best suited to you, if you want things to come in a way that make you the happiest, if you want things to come in a way that's most difficult, right? Any of these are up to you, but if you set and lay down the foundation, you replace the unknown with assumptions, and then that becomes the new track. So I hope this was helpful in understanding Imaginal seeds. Listen, this is a new thing that I'm doing with this whiteboard. Do me a favor, leave a comment below if you like this method, if you like the old method better, or if you like both of them or whatever. But if you want more broken down step-by-step fundamentals on how to manifest, how it works in a systematic, predictable way, hit that subscribe button and get notified for the next one by hitting the bell icon, and hit the like button. It does something to the algorithm so that those who would not normally be able to see this video will be able to see it, and stay tuned for the next one. Peace.